and balanced vibration to everyone. We are beginning here today because this is a course where most people begin. They begin from the bed. And so it's important to talk about a couple things just to make sure you get your day started off right. What I tend to do is I always keep one of these around, or even a black t-shirt, because as I said, the whole body is very light sensitive, and so it's important to have something over your eyes so that when you wake up in the morning, this is kind of generally how I wake up. I have this on, and then what I do is, even though I'm awake, even if I take this off, I still keep my eyes closed. Because I started to realize that there is actually a geometric pattern to this room, there's a geometric pattern to everything. And that geometric pattern kind of loads a program, for better lack of words. And so if you're trying to grasp what really took place while you were asleep, it's better to do that while being awake but still having your eyes closed, and then you can really start to go in there and see what you saw. But the moment you open your eyes is the moment that this program starts loading. So always keep aware of that. And the second thing I generally do is I go here to my little dream journal, and this is the most important thing, especially for those who don't have much success in remembering their dreams. It's good to keep a dream journal and just write anything you remember, and then what you'll notice is as it continues every day, you'll remember more and more. But it's important to have this right here, because you'll notice early in the morning your best ideas and your dreams and everything are there for you, and that's your personal data that you need to help you exist. So it's good to have that written down. The next thing that's very important is, it's not a big cup, but something bigger, the average cup, but about twice the size of this, is to have a cup of room temperature water waiting on you when you wake up. Because what you'll notice is that most animals, when they start early in the morning, almost all animals, they go to the river and they get a drink of water, and then they pass all of their excretions that are inside their systems and toxins. So it's very important to take that cup of water early in the morning, and then what your body will start doing is getting used to actually purging out early in the morning. It'll clean itself out. Last but not least, I tend to, before I even get started running around, because most people get right out of the bed and they start going, and they never are able to catch up for the rest of the day, is I do a brief 5 to 10 minute meditation just to kind of center consciousness. And this becomes very important for you early in the morning. So this is the regimen. This is the beginning of the regimen. We're going to show you the step-by-step of what I do and what we do here to get ourselves going so that we can stay in that state of mind of being activated as superhumans. Okay, here we are. We're now out of bed, and this is going to be the first part of the morning. So what it's important to do at this point is to determine what kind of exercise you can actually do. Now, the interesting thing is, if you wake up early, you can actually get all this in before you even have to go to work. So you might want to heavily start to consider getting up at 5, 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock, training your body to get up at that time so that you cannot have an excuse to why you couldn't do it because you needed to go to work. And that's why we're doing a lot of this in the house and alleviating having to be somewhere, having to be at the gym, etc., to show you that you can actually do this at the house. So you have two choices in the morning, because it's important to work with your breathing. Like, we're just discovering so much more about the breathing that really goes beyond like pranic techniques and breath of fire techniques, because those start to seem to us like things that we can try to get our kundalini up. But the reality is that these are things that you need to be doing every day. And so we have a simple technique, and it's very similar to running. If you notice that when you start to breathe very fast, your body starts to have the same reaction as if it had been running. So we're going to do two things this morning. Of course, we're going to go running. But for those who don't have the opportunity to go out and run, maybe because of the neighborhood they live in, because of the amount of pollution, maybe they have problems with their feet, those type of things may hinder a person from running. So it should not hinder you from being able to build up your energy levels and your breathing. Because remember, your breathing works in conjunction to your heart. And when your heart is pumping, then you're pumping out more energy. And of course, this is the point where you can activate the Shilajit, the Jing Builders, and things that we're talking about later. And so we're just going to go ahead and begin. Okay, so how this begins is it begins like a marathon. And the interesting thing is that like I said, your breathing is key, and so you're really going to have to work towards pushing into 30 minutes of this. You can start off at 10 minutes, work your way to 20, 25, then 30, but the reality is that this can't stop. That's the whole thing. It's just like when you're running. If you stop, you can take a break. But with this, if you just keep breathing, you'll start to definitely feel like you've been running outside. But this also gives your body an extreme boost for the rest of the day. So we're going to begin. Focusing on taking a lot of air into the lower part of your stomach. This becomes very important for you because you should not be breathing in your chest. You should be breathing here. And if you notice that you start to get tired, you can start to delegate the breathing into the lower part. Also, because of the rhythm of the heart, it's really good to count into 4 syllables to kind of gauge how you should be breathing. Basically, when you start to, let's say, fall behind in your breathing, it occurs because you're not breathing at rhythm. And so what you want to do is you want to breathe to the rhythm of 4 beats. And you can even make up your own mantra to this count. And so that way you have a way of keeping track of how exactly you're breathing. And so that's what you have. You have the abdominal breathing. You have the consistency. You want to keep in there about 30 minutes if you can. Starting off maybe with 15 or 20 if you just begin. You really want to push yourself, and you want to remember consistency, because consistency is going to allow you to reach the levels you want to reach. Another interesting thing to do when you get about 10 minutes into your breathing is then take a deep breath in and hold it. And then you will start to feel the energy wash over you as you're experiencing yourself on that high vibration. Wholeness and balanced vibration. Okay, so we're here. And we're just going to prepare a very brief smoothie for the morning. I have some really exotic fruits here, but of course the smoothie works any kind of way and whatever you have to throw into it. But the main thing is it's good to drink this early in the morning, especially before like a heavy breakfast or breakfast at all, because it allows your system to completely be cleaned out. And so what I have here is I have some pineapples, I have some maracuja, which is indigenous to the country, some bananas, some strawberries, and some papayas, and everything is frozen already, so this allows me to not use as much ice so I can get more flavor out of the food. And of course I use honey as the sweetener. And so the first part, of course, is I use the pineapple as the base. And in order to do that, because the pineapple of course has that stringy substance, I generally just throw it into the blender and add some water to it, and I blend this stuff off. So water quality is pretty good in Costa Rica, so I'm not going to be using any bottled water. So I'll probably fill up about that much. And we're going to go ahead and mute the sound for you so you don't have to hear the sounds of the blender. Here's another thing I thought was very important to bring up. We got this and this from Walmart here, which is going to be a little bit more expensive, for I think around $50 for both of them, and maybe even a little bit less. So if you take a trip over to your local Walmart, you'll find that they actually have a juicer. This is, I think, Hamilton Beach. Yeah, they'll have a juicer and blenders for a little bit of nothing. So this is not something that you need to think is going to cost you a lot of money to do. And so it's very important to go and grab a juicer and a blender, because you can make soups. You can do all sorts of stuff. If you make some soups at night, put them in the juicer, juice up some carrots, juice up some tomatoes, then that stuff is of course a lot easier to digest because the body has already it's already been grinded down, so the body doesn't have to do really any work. So what I normally do is I take this this pineapple juice and I strain it off. As you see, that just kind of makes a juice with no pulp in it. And then, as I said, I use that as the base to the smoothie. So these are like the deluxe smoothies because there's about 5 steps to this process when you could really just throw all of it into the blender and go at it. But I also find that if you just take more time with it, it's more energy involved in it. And that's what we were also discussing in regards to how long it takes to grow something as a farmer. And you're putting all that time and you're putting all that attention into it. And then when you finally eat it, it's a lot more wholesome for you because you know what it took for you to actually grow it. And so because we don't grow our own food, in many cases we're not as appreciative of how it got to us, and that it's still containing all of the energy of all of the process that it took to actually get it to us. So not only the sun every single day growing the fruit, not only the water, and not only the farmer, whoever picked it, the transportation of it getting to you. So all of that energy is still stored within the actual fruit itself. And so when you put some time and attention into it also, then you put yourself in a better position to be able to inherit some of that energy as you're